Oh, well, there you go.
All right, well, we'll just start right back on over, Strongboy.
Well, but you're it's on your, maybe because you started it, you're the host. Okay, got it.
I started it.
Okay, because I didn't see the record button, so I assumed it was already recording.
All right, well,
let's start over.
We had a little practice run. All right, so we're gonna get this show started.
Little rewind.
Me, Monish Patel, and Shaunak Patel here, recording our first podcast. It's going to be kind of raw, but that's why we have edit and all this technology now. So, it is a Beautiful Chaos podcast, where we are talking about this real life, family, work, kids, and everything else in between. There's no filters, no scripts, just what it actually feels like to balance all of it. Let me first start with asking Sharkbai. Let me ask you this. Are we actually building a life that we want or just staying busy?
I don't know, man. Sometimes we just don't know the difference. But I feel like, more and more every day, all I keep thinking about is how much I want to build a life that I want, and not just feel like I just check some boxes. Every day. That checklist that you scratch a piece of paper, the agenda you got to get done. Did I check that off? And at the end of the day, you just feel like, oh yeah, man, I had a good day. You checked off 6 boxes. And like, what about it that made you feel good about the day? And it doesn't always feel like fulfillment just to check the boxes. So yeah, that's what we want. We want to build a life that we want, not just one that we check the boxes on. Those check boxes, by the way, are not going to be on my tombstone. So they're not. Yeah, I want to build a life that I could write something about on that damn tombstone. You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, I can relate to you on that. I mean, just staying busy is like one thing. Yeah, you get through the day, you're occupying your time, and, like checking those boxes. If you don't check those boxes, you don't feel that you had a productive day, or you feel accomplished, or like, you're not sitting there feeling, like when you don't check those boxes, you kind of feel guilty. You're like, oh my God, did I get anything done today? Which leads me to this next question is, what was your most chaotic moment this week? Like the past week, we had the weekend with the kids, and, obviously we're like a sandwich generation. So we're taking care of our parents and the kids and obviously everything else in between. What was your most chaotic moment? Break it down.
Man, I'm going to say it's probably just, I think, I forgot what exact day it was. I'm going to say it was probably last Thursday or Tuesday, one or the other. But Ashley's mom's going through some stuff, and she had to go get to a surgery that she needed. So I was running her 30-odd minutes in one direction, heading back into the hotel to run it, and then going back in a different direction, grabbing mom and dad and taking them to their appointments, and then that back and forth chauffeuring, getting all my stuff done as fast as I can, because then I got to grab Noah and get to his stuff. And it just felt like, am I like Waymo? What's happening here? What am I doing? Just driving people around, and it's like I find myself constantly having to what's that phrase where you have to not repurpose what's happening to you, but you gotta reframe it. I had to reframe the day and verbalize it so that I felt decent about it, because otherwise I get home and I'm like, why the F did I do all this? Like, why the F am I still doing all this? Like, what's the point? And it didn't, and you feel useless about it. So Yeah, it was just a lot of chaos on the road. Um, Not to mention Texas drivers create some of that chaos anyway. So yeah, I would say that was the most chaotic one. Just constant running around, driving around, getting people from here to there, and then you hold those that saying of holding two conflicting thoughts in your head. You're doing all that, and then all the time in your mind, they're like, "Where's the money? This is making me any money. I got to get my work done so I can generate." And you just that's that becomes chaotic in my head. So um, that's the way that day went, man. It was rough. I felt rough, at least. I feel like I'm still coming down from it. I'm tired.
Yeah, you're probably still like in shock when one of those days happened. I share one of my moments was on the weekend. Our weekends kind of get busy, kind of running two businesses, two kids with two sports each, and then we had a bonus family in town. We had some friends visit, and Jaden, my older one, he had a Hope Squad meeting, which it's kind of like this group that the school district created of kids of like anti-bullying and kids kind of just relating to kids on mental health overall. That's what
Right.
I think what it's all about. And on Saturday, Friday night, our friends arrived, so we had a football game all the way till 9 p.m. And then the next morning, we had the Hope Squad and 4 games that day. And I also had to do a pharmacy shift while managing the two businesses. So I'm like all in my head. I'm like, how am I going to calculate all this? How am I going to do this? But being the checklister that I am, I wrote down how everything needs to happen hour by hour, where I needed to be, and it went down to like literally the 10 minutes. Like I could only stay. So in the morning, made breakfast, for everybody. So there's like 10 people in our house, right, at this point. So went to Hope Squad. I mean, I wanted to stay there the entire time, but I was like feeling like, I got to get to work. I got to pick up this box, deliver this box. So I could only stay there for 15 minutes. But the beauty of that was the first time I went to that Hope Walk. Obviously, our kids in it because, they've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now. And just seeing all those people there, and that my son was part of it.
Yeah.
That kept me going. That kept me going the rest of the day. And then followed by Tanay's game, and he scored like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I didn't feel like I was almost tired to go to this game. I'm like, wow, we got another game after this. I was already stressing about the soccer game that he already has. But that boy showed up. So it was, let's just say it was all of it. Kids, we had people over, so we had, like friends and family and work, and balancing all that. It was like my nervous system was almost a wreck at the end of the day, when I finally got to decompress,
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty chaotic.
It is.
But I did find that moment, right? I found those moments right there. Like, my son is in Hope Squad, and he's doing something impactful. And T-Man, my little one, that boy's been on a touchdown streak. So, those were, I think, like the little takeaways that I got out of that chaos. Even though in my mind, I was like, man, this is a heavy set day.
Little mini cheetah.
Yeah, he's definitely the little one's a mini cheetah for sure, man. And he told me, and I don't know where he gets this from, truly. He told me, oh, I was just jogging.
He's trash talking.
He's trash talking already.
Where did he get that from?
I don't know.
Sure, Mo. Sure. Nobody knows. Sounds like a mini Mo.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the chaos part of it. I mean, we're just trying to relate here and everything, but
yeah.
So this podcast, me and you started, I think, we've been thinking about this for a long time. So, I'm happy that we started this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, look, I know. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening is going to be like, I don't know about this or whatever. And I encourage anyone to just think about like how their life looks. Where does it relate? How are you handling things? What do you say to yourself when you're by yourself? And you don't notice all those voices yelling at you or talking to you. Sometimes they're just whispering at you. And the impact that it has moment to moment when you're running around doing the task and not feeling fulfilled by it. So going back to what I had said about even when all it does is feel like a task, a little quick reframe doesn't hurt. Like you went to the boys' things, and at the end of the day, anybody on the outside is going to say, okay, so you checked that box and you checked that box. But for you, you also paid attention in the moment to realize how much it was filling your cup. And then by filling that cup, it took you the rest of the day into the rest of the tasks, onto the next son's deal. It didn't exhaust you just because you had to do it, because you filled your cup by noticing, taking a second to notice how important it is for you, how you define your success through those things. So you're actively reframing things, and it makes a huge difference when you take some time to do that. So you get to
I guess
tell yourself, what is that success like, right?
Yeah, I mean, was it a checklist? Yeah, it was, but yes, reframing exactly what you said was like, I did check that box and I was there and I did fill my cup, right? It was maybe not in a total, maybe like as people would sometimes define success as money.
Hey, can I interrupt? Can I interrupt for 5 seconds? So I'm gonna check this box, but it's gonna fill my cup. Saying goodbye to my baby.
Okay. Nope.
Hey, man, that's part of it.
It's the little things.
It's the little things, yeah.
Well, I mean, like a lot of people would define it like as, like checking the box that you achieved something, there's money, there's growth in it, but like exactly what you said, like, when I was talking about the story, what did fill my cup was seeing Jaden at the Hope Squad, actually delivering that box to my client and having this 15-minute discussion about he lost 15 pounds, already. He's only 2 months into it, and he hasn't stayed that consistent in years, right? So that went on to I did a pharmacy shift, and I kind of mentored the technician there to be a pharmacist, right? Like he's been there for 5 years. And, then, T-Man, I mean, I was exhausted by this time because I've been up since 5 o'clock. Now there's a 3 o'clock game. And homeboy T-Man, scoring that touchdown, So that cup was just, you had these moments, but, checking that box does kind of fill your cup. You just got to reframe it exactly what you kind of said to, like, what does success look like that day? Or, when I check off this box, is that success too, So that's a great, observation that we're doing here right now. But
and I know that like we're pretty much unscripted on how this is going right now, but we had some bullet points that we thought we would try to capture, and success was one of those, right? Like, how do we define it, or how does it feel for us? All of that. And I noticed I've had to figure out for myself, how does that mean? What does success mean to me? And in that I was just thinking about something that came to mind that I've been saying for a few years to the owner. So you know this, but I don't think anybody else really knows this. But I have a full-time job where I run a hotel for a good friend of mine here in San Antonio. But I had a few years ago gotten into the solar world. And I was just doing it on a residential basis in the beginning, but I find that way too boring. So I've been helping a lot with the company that I'm with to develop their business, because they do their solar work on the commercial side, and that's where I feel like I have more fun talking about it and all that kind of stuff. I love talking about the numbers of things and having business conversations. Well, anyway, I've been telling the owner, and he and I are friends now, and I've always told him, I said, look, man, I am a task-based type of guy. I like performing these tasks because I can do them efficiently, but what I really want to feel like is that I've made a difference, and I've been saying that so much lately that I'm trying to wonder, like, okay, if I made a difference, what does that even look like? How will I know that I made the difference if I don't have the evidence for it, right? So what is the evidence of success? I don't, I can't, I do have to kind of quantify it in some way. I've got to articulate it so that when I look back, I can say, yeah, I checked those boxes and achieved that success. And I go back and reflect on it, kind of feel it a little bit. And am I making a difference? So yesterday, we talked about earlier talked about chaotic weeks. Yesterday was pretty chaotic because I had to also, we just landed a contract for a small job, and it was perfect. And it almost fell apart, but here I was double timing between the hotel job and the solar job and trying to figure some stuff out, and then becoming the owner's psychologist on top of it, because when I had to give him some bad news that's solvable. It's a solvable problem, but he immediately said, well, dude, we might as well just tear up the deal. And I'm like, hang on. Let's just walk through this a little bit. We don't have to tear up the deal. And, I took a few steps, and it took a handful of phone calls to get through it. And we figured some stuff out, and the problem is starting to get resolved. And it becomes chaotic in my head, where I'm like, man, I've got these staff at the hotel that are coming in and out of my office asking me questions, while knowing that in the background, I know that in a few hours I'm going to have to be elsewhere dealing with Noah or whatever, and mom and dad, and finding out the old home just about blew away back in Ottawa. The motel in Ottawa got almost blown away. And then on top of that, trying to take the owner of this solar company and calm him down from having a meltdown of a job that we just landed. And he's wanting to almost kill it because some bad news came through. It gets to be a lot, but at the end of the night, I reflected on it all, and when I asked myself, what difference am I making, that's where I feel like I'm making that difference, where I keep some composure, figure out some solutions, and keep moving things forward. Am I making a difference by allowing some things to move forward versus stay stagnant or even go backwards? So I don't think there's this is just my opinion. I don't think there's a single figure or word or something that someone could look at and say, yeah, there it is. That's success right there. It's moment to moment, day by day. You just got to take it as it comes. And enjoy that moment, not just kind of look at it and say, oh, that was cool, and then move on. You gotta soak it up a little bit. The fill in your cup type of thing, you gotta soak that up and then keep it there, because that becomes your next moment's motivation, Or, man, I don't even know if I'm rambling here, but that's what it feels like. You gotta take those moments and build on them. every moment at a time.
So what we're getting from this conversation then is, yeah, it's great to have a little checklist of things that you need to do, because we do in reality live a pretty chaotic life, just our background right now of it's trying to stay busy, right? When busy hits, you got to have a checklist, otherwise the day will take you, rather you kind of having some grasp on it. But checking those boxes, it can either fill your cup or it can probably drain you too. So reframing that, hey, when I did check off this box here, what did I get out of it there, right? What did that mean? What does this mean? I think like people need to overall, like, you're not just checking off boxes, you're actually filling your cup, and then just taking that moment just to embrace it, right? Embrace like what you solved out for your partner at the solar. They're like, yo, he was about to scrap the deal, but you had to take a moment and solve some problems. Otherwise, you guys would have lost the deal. And then if that happened, like, how would you be feeling then? Would it have filled your cup? Probably not, but taking that moment. On to the next question though. We're talking about success and everything on this podcast here is, I'm going to ask you, Sean Glide, what did success mean to you about 10 years ago when you were freshly 40 years old?
Look, man, guys, I'm just going to say, guys, if, whoever's listening, I'm not going to get crazy deep on this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Dude, 10 years, we might have to go back just a few years before that, because, like, quite literally 10 years ago, I was spiraling, right? I was so I'm not going to go into, maybe down the road we could get deep, but I was a drunk, philandering butthole. So I don't know what the hell 10 years ago what success meant. Let's go a couple years before that, just so I could be a little bit more clear-minded. Dude, I was looking around at everyone else and comparing. So success almost always had dollar signs in front of it and behind it. Like, that's the way it's supposed to look. And I'm not going to lie, I still want that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But it's clear now that I'm not going to make those dollar signs unless I'm making a real difference somewhere, whether it's in my own life or a partner, like an intimate partner's life, a family member's life, or a business partner's life, and that's what's changed 10 years later, 12 years later, is a little bit of a mindset change that it happens when I make a difference for someone else. If I'm moving things forward for someone else, there's going to be a return. And it may seem like I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's like, what does that return look like? I mean, sometimes you just never get to see it. Like say your kids, you may never really get to see them fully fulfilled and succeeding on themselves. You may have passed on before they get there. But it's like that one saying, I think it's a Buddhist saying, it's like you may never get a chance to enjoy the shade under the tree under which you planted the seed, or something like that. I probably botched it, but you get my point. Like, those are seeds that we've sown in our children, sometimes in our business partners. There's some success that'll come out of it, and you don't know what it's going to look like and when it's going to show up. And it may show up, but you may not be there to witness it. Like, for instance, and the guy I was talking about earlier, his name is Jose. He was ready to scrap the deal because he got nervous about something that he thought the customer was going to be upset about. And if I had just sat there and just said, well, it's not my company, so, it's your choice, he may have just done that and then gone home and be completely pissed at himself. And that relationship with his wife could have gone one way or another that evening at least. Who knows? And I would never know that because I don't sit there, I'm not pillow talking with them. So, you know, who knows? Maybe I saved something there, or at least saved an argument between him and his wife. I'll never know, but I'll just take that as a win. So success for me back then was I just was paying attention to the superficial stuff that I felt like I was supposed to have. Money or assets or stuff in my house or a bigger car. I felt like that's what it was supposed to be. And now it's more like what difference am I making, even though I know I may not ever get to know what the results of that difference may be. And I just, like we said earlier, we just reframe it, and I believe, I have faith that it's just, there's something good there that I'm doing, and something good will come out of it.
No, I mean, hey, I agree with you, and I've seen you change through these last 10 years for sure, 10 or 15 years, right? Me and you both. For me, I mean, 10 years ago is when I had my first kid, and yeah, I was sitting with a pretty house, a great.
You saw that video I sent you, right?
Yeah.
Ah, Jaden was so cute, man.
Yeah. So I was sitting with all these things, exactly what you said, like the money, the career success, the house, the materials, right? And it was just like, okay, it was just kind of like keeping up with the Joneses, or you can even say with the Patels now. Trying to keep up with them, and it was just, but back then it was, I mean, I was just, like, hey, I was drinking, I was having, nonsense fun. I was drinking from an empty cup, it was not filling my cup. Later I realized, and what it is now is that, like I said, like at the beginning, like what we just talked about, is like, I went to that Hope Squad, and I saw a bunch of people, my kids, like, are part of that, and T-Man scoring touchdowns. I mean, fast forward, otherwise I would have been like, hey, it would have been about numbers, or am I getting money out of this? Where's my growth in my career? How big is my house? What car am I driving? These thoughts still kind of ring through my head time to time, but, obviously we need resources to live and to keep up with the times. But what's my other, like I always talk about this to a lot of the young gentlemen that I work with and out in the community, is like, what impact are we leaving behind? What impact are we having with our closest people? Not talking about money and things, material, So yeah. Back then was a lot of material. Now, what I can define it as is like, what impact am I leaving with, myself, on my purpose, to my family, how am I impacting my family and my community? I do run 2 community businesses, and, impact is the big one there, right? The purpose and the people. And, the pay will come afterwards. Like, so a lot of people, they get career started is the purpose, the people, and then the pay, right? And I think I was just focused a lot on where the end result was of the pay, back then. But now it's like back to the purpose and the people, So that's my that's my past. And now, let's go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask you a follow-up on that then.
Yep.
Like, if we look at it from a data standpoint, would you say that back then success, the metric of that success was materialistic with dollar signs and things like that? But now the currency today I don't even know if we have a definition for that currency, but it's a feeling more than it is a thing. Is that?
No, exactly. No, it's the feeling, right? Like what am I feeling inside, right? The money and the material, like it's great. It's temporary, and that's what I've learned over like the last 10, 15 years, that stuff is definitely temporary. But what goes on, and what's going to be written on your tombstone, like you previously were saying, was how much of an impact you will leave behind, or how it's not the car you drove or the house that you had, like how did you impact other people's lives, and how that make you feel, right? And that fills your cup up. Fast forward now, like it's more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Material and the money was, you get fulfilled, but it was temporary.
Yeah.
Fast forward. I mean, you still got more years on me, and you've had to experience life a little bit more. But I think in the context of what we're talking about right now is like what fills our cup is like the impact and are we filling other people's cups too, right? I mean, just imagine if I didn't show up to that Hope Squad meeting. Just imagine if I didn't show up to that game. I lost that moment to even fill my cup, and also theirs,
Theirs, yeah. That's right.
Theirs, and that's the fulfillment piece, right? It's like the fulfillment is just not like, okay, yeah, they're going to the game, they got there, but no, Daddy has to come and watch me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the impact. That's the actual equity that I enjoy now, and I had to go back and forth and fight through this, from material to impact quite a bit, even in my businesses, right? So.
And I like how you use the word equity. Like for a couple of dudes that are in business, that's a business term, but that doesn't mean we don't, and so you automatically start thinking dollar signs and material things, but equity can look a different way. There's equity in the heart, and in the spirit, and you not only fulfilled it for yourself, but like you said, you fulfilled it for Jaden and today, where they built some, you filled their cup. And teaching them, like success, teaching them at a young age that success looks multiple ways.
Yeah.
Not just the way that the outside world wants you to see it.
Yeah, and it's like that's kind of funny. Like in this past week, I was coaching up some of my young gentlemen here at Project Lean, and I told them, like, equities. There's probably like 5 equities in life, right? The number one that you think of is money. The next equity is yourself. It's your family, your community, and what you're going to live imprinted on the world. It's all in one hand. And are you fulfilling all those equities? Because if you're just doing one thing, man, you're in for a rough ride there. If you're just doing one, but if you're doing multiple, you feel more fulfilled. Like, I mean, it's 5 things here. You got a whole hand now. They're just depending on one measurable, right? Now you have 5 around you, and then balancing all those out. I think that's where I think now my definition of success is like in those kind of like 5 areas mainly. And
I really like that framework of having those multiple equities. Going back to business stuff, we always talk about diversifying, right? And that's what you did, because maybe it's 5 for you, it might be 4 for me, and 7 for the next person. But whatever the number, whatever you write down as the areas of equity, if one of those are going to fail on a day, there may be a day, and it's like you just kind of failed on one of those, but you got the other 4 to go back to and say, yeah, but I succeeded here, and it's not a total failure for the day or for the month or whatever. But imagine if you were only invested in one or two of those things and one of them fail. Holy shit, that's like 50% of your day, your life, your month. And and then all of a sudden you feel like crap. So yeah, it has to be defined that way, right? You have to define all the important areas, and you know that there's more than one, but people don't see it that way. People only see one. They have to be reminded or broken out of that mold that there's more than just one way to look at your success in life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good point. We just like right now, we just kind of, we're defining that role. But I did want to ask the question, since this is we're talking about um, our life. I mean, we kind of talked about our life there already, and some of our work. I mean, I think people know that a little bit about our work right now. But do you think like your kids even care for? I mean, here's the thing: from a kid's perspective, dad's there, right, and mom's there. Do they even care about like our business wins overall, or the running around that we're doing for our parents and everything? Or did they just be like, okay, my mom and dad are just there? Like from a kid's perspective, like they're just looking at you, right?
Yeah.
They're just observing you. So, I mean, from their perspective, since we're talking about, like, I mean, we talked about business already in our, definitions of success like 10 years ago and what it is kind of now, right? I mean, we're still flowing through it, but how about the kids? What are they just kind of like observing and just like, oh yeah, dad was there, or, I mean, they don't know exactly what boxes we truly checked off. Like,
you know, I think it's a good question, man, and I think our listeners are gonna get that I have a tendency to pause and then I go crazy deep sometimes. So I have three boys, and two of them are with my ex-wife, and they're older. They're one's gonna be turning 20 soon, and the other one's turning 24 tomorrow, right? So with Vita and Minkle, I have that perspective. So even going back to the previous discussion of like what was success for me 10, 15 years ago versus today, I'm seeing life a whole different way through Noah's eyes today than I was with the other boys that long ago when they were his age. And I don't know what the boys saw back then with me. I know that they saw me busting my ass, going from here to there, running 2 or 3 different businesses back in Kansas, and there was that. And what Noah sees from me today and the effort I put out, I don't think he gets concerned about the dollar signs and the things he gets. It was just like 3 years ago. There was a couple trips I had to make, and he had to come with me in the car. It was like a weekend or I don't know, whatever it was, but I was doing some roofing. I was a roofing salesperson for a little while. And so here I am just shoving the ladder in the back of my car and shoving him in his car seat, and then we'd go an hour away and do a roof inspection, getting that ladder out, and, just so that he feels important, I say, you hold the ladder, okay? You need to make sure I don't fall and that the ladder doesn't fall. I mean, that ladder's like weighs 10 times more than he does, but I just wanted to have him feel important. So he's watching me go up and down and run across the roof, and I'm doing measurements and inspecting things and whatever. And then ever since then, he's been saying, and I was doing roofing work, but I think he thought I was doing solar work, but it doesn't matter. He said, when I grow up, I want to do solar like you. So, and I'm like, bro, I'm not sure that I want you to just worry about all this stuff. But I think back now, and I'm like, who might have stopped him from wanting to do something like that? Like, yeah, it's our dad's best dream that they don't struggle like we had to struggle. But the struggle is good. And I think from a kid's perspective, I don't think that they see what my parents able to buy for me. They're just watching to see how we do, like what we're doing and how we're going about. Like, and I mean how in capital letters, how we're going about doing it. Are we being dicks along the way, or are we managing it and they're like seeing that there's some stoic, peaceful way that we're just going about handling the day? Because that's what they're watching. Are we being good about it, or we're not? Or can we handle it, or are we just, losing our minds? And they don't have all the verbal articulation yet, right? And so they're just feeling it all. They're feeling the moments as they go through. And then that gets ingrained in their bodies. That gets ingrained in their hearts. So it's our job to teach them in how we handle things. And it feels like pressure, but it doesn't have to. So I don't know. That's my thinking of, or at least this time around right now, that's what I feel like kids' perspective is from my standpoint. And to finish what I was saying, I've been talking about Noah, but with Vida and Mikkel, we've had a struggle, and maybe in some later shows I can go in more in depth of what's all happened there. But we've had our struggles, and our relationship's been repaired. They're seeing what I'm up to. And as an example, several weeks ago, I was taking Mikkel somewhere. I don't know if we went to lunch or something. And he doesn't talk much. He's just a reserved, really chill guy. But we were talking about something semi-deep, and he just said, Dad, you're a good dad. I don't know why you keep thinking this or thinking that you're a good dad. He has never said that before. Never said that before. So I'm like, somewhere along the way, he noticed something, he saw something, and in that moment, he decided to say it out loud. And man, talk about filling the cup, bro. That was. I will always remember that. I will always remember that. He doesn't say much, but that just was gold for me. Yeah.
Oh, that is gold. That is gold right there. That equity, that's another equity that we were not expecting 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I'm proud of, just to say, I'm proud of you. And I know you wanted to probably hear those words probably years ago. Yeah. Those little impacts that you're making right now, that little checklist and doing it, the progress that you have both made, right? It's huge, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is the part, of this show right now is we're connecting these emotional equities, as I call it, right? And it's tied to our kids because they've kind of taken up our lives for I don't know, the last 10 years for sure, right? For you, 20 years. Your oldest one is 24.
Yup.
Right, big boy Viren. He's 24. That's a quarter of a century, bro. That's half your living life right there. So, that's even more and then your little, Mikkel, him saying that, I know he's always been reserved, but, that's a win for you in your bucket,
Big time. And it was a win for both of us because we're not, no human is a mind reader, so the only mind reading we can do is looking at body language and then the words that are coming out of someone's mouth. And when someone's not saying a lot, you don't have anything but body language, and you don't see this kid very often because he's off to college these days. So you just don't know what's going on in his mind. So when he's that reserved and then he chooses to say something like that, it's got depth, and it meant a lot for both of us because he created a strengthened a connection that was a little loose for a while. It just got tighter, and it made a huge difference for both of us. I know it did. So definitely believe that it did. So.
No, I have a couple of examples of these thoughts go through our head, and I'm glad that we're doing this podcast because it kind of lets it out. Right in this podcast right now at this moment, I am learning from you and, myself too. myself. I just learned, oh, I filled up my cup. You got that little love marker from, Mikul, like you're a good dad. Because how many times in your head you were probably saying the whole opposite thing? The whole opposite. Like you're
Every
piece of
day.
shit, or like, like you're not doing this right. I mean, these thoughts in your head, right? But, for me, it's like let's say I go about my day is like waking up my kids quietly, not in like a abrupt way, right? Like saying Jai Shri Krishna to them in the morning, good morning, and quietly waking them up, right? Wishing them a very shanti or a peaceful morning, right? Then throughout the day, Dad, hey, if they're around you, watch this, Dad, watch this. So you probably might be occupied of dealing with this roofer guy, dealing with the people at the motel and stuff, but taking that brief moment and just watching that, like that was me just showing up to Hope Squad. It was a whole 2-hour thing. I could only be there for 15 minutes and I had to run, but he knew I was there, right? And I watched him, right, for a little while. And I mean, obviously we're in the age of like phones. We do 80% of our stuff on the phone is like to put down the phone and to just watch that touchdown. I mean, I could have been easily on my phone or talking to somebody else and missed the touchdown. And I've done that plenty of times, on their other games. I missed a lot of soccer goals. I forgot to record it, even though I had my phone. Like, like I had my phone in my hand, but I missed it because I was doing something else. Like,
what's wrong with you, Mo? You need to have a GoPro on your hat so you can have your phone available for calls.
I think that's why. You know what? That's why all those.
You need more devices.
I was like, I need more devices. I need more. I gotta record every moment. But that intentionality of like put down your phone, right? And like
exactly.
In the evening, just having a kind of decompressing evening from a chaotic day, right? Like, I mean, like, the example earlier, like Saturday, right? And then guess what? Saturday night was like, hey, we decompressed, right, as a family and everything. And then, conversations, like a bedtime conversation or just a conversation over dinner, right? It doesn't have to be long drawn out and you need to have like these pointers need to be made, but, talking about the day. I think that's, kind of important to point out for parents out there is, put your kid's perspective in here too, because that fills your cup. I mean, they're looking at you and, it may not be right now or within the next week, but maybe years later, you get that good dad moment. And that, like, all those negative thoughts that you had, all that stuff that you were talking shit on yourself about, that goes away.
Yep.
That goes away.
Yep.
So I'm proud of that, that you got that, today. And, you had that moment with Mikkel, especially,
Yeah.
So, kind of just switch a little gears here. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you said you'd said this before a week or so ago or something, but like you had said that we feel like we got to give them everything, but what they only want is just us, And
just watch me,
moment to moment.
Just be there in the moment, right? I mean, that's, you're out there trying to make things happen for them, and they probably don't see that now as that way, but I think from the kids' perspective is that were you just there? Were you there?
Yeah.
And present. Yeah. Were you there and were you present? And that's where, I think from their perspective, that's all they want. Nothing else. I don't think they care about the car that we drive, the businesses that we do, how hard we're really even working. You think, they don't see that perspective. I think they see it as, was my dad there and was he present?
Yeah.
And we've had moments that we were there and not there, right? There's there that were not even there and not there, because of our past, past traumas or we were still dealing with stuff in life, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But to switch gears to kind of end on a kind of positive note is, I would like to do this in the show is 1% better every day or every week, however you want to scale this. Let's make it real. What's one thing you can do better this week? I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about this week, since we kind of talked about our week.
Yeah. I'm going to reflect. I'm going to reflect on what we just got done talking about with the kids, and they just want us to see them. And the short story is, even just yesterday, I took Noah to karate, and I have some errands I'm generally running when I drop him off, but this time I'm like, I'm going to stay and make sure he knows I'm there. But even then, I had something in my ear. I was watching a YouTube video, which I often do, and then I noticed he was looking every few seconds to see if I was watching. So I asked myself right then, hey, whatever YouTube video you were watching, is it impactful enough to make a difference in your life tomorrow? Or is it just you're just trying to blow some time? And I'm like, if you're just blowing some time, is it that important? Drop it. Watch the kid, because he's watching you to see if you're watching him. So my 1% better is I'm going to tune in. See if I can just drop that phone for just 10 minutes every day. 10 less minutes while he's awake. So he knows that I'm there for him. I mean, 10 minutes doesn't sound like it's going to be enough. If I do that 1% every day, I'll be adding a minute a day. So I think, after a week, he'll get a whole hour of my life back to him. And he deserves that. So does Mikkel, and so does Vita. So, yeah, that's my 1% better. I'm going to drop that phone 10 minutes every day and just pay attention, all in.
I agree with you. I'm guilty of the phone also. So, definitely less on the phone. But what I have not done with my kids, since I'm just around my kids a lot and they're always together, is to do a one-on-one with them each. 30, starting with 30 minutes. And my wife, like Deeple, she is good about this, doing these one-on-ones with the kids. She used to do it almost every week. She had a date night with the boys, like each night, like one's at practice, so she'll take the other one out to go, just grab something to eat or do a one-on-one, and she'll kind of do vice versa. And that kind of really filled her cup. And I'm like, you know what? I need to kind of do that to separate them, because I have them always together. We're boys, we're sticking together, we're a family. You guys are brothers, but I think that one-on-one time is going to be important for my kids. And then also just checking in with my wife. We run businesses together, but to actually emotionally check her in to, how she has actually asked her this question, how are you feeling? And having a, maybe like a 20, 30-minute conversation. No more than that, because then it goes sideways sometimes. But just checking in with her, how she's feeling. Is she good, bad, ugly? I don't know what's going on, but because we have meetings throughout the week, almost on a daily basis, on like what tasks we need to complete. But this emotional check-in would be, at least daily, just to see where she sits at, and then this one-on-one time with the kids once a week. If I can, do that, that would fill my cup for sure, because it's, what I think about is my kids, my wife, my business, and the business is always going to be there. I got to show up and put out the fires anyways. I'm needed, so, and that's taken up a lot of my bandwidth overall. So This isn't, I think, overall, like the bottom line is, this isn't about perfection or just checking the box off. It's just about getting 1% better every week, not even on a daily basis, because that's just, really, I would say that's pretty aggressive, but putting this into play on where our lifestyle is at right now, just that 1% better. So
yeah,
I think
I'd like to just put the challenge out there too. I mean, whoever hears it, just put the challenge out there to look in themselves where they can make that 1% tiny change. And I hesitated to use, I was about to use the word improvement, but I don't even want to go there. Just the change. Improvement, we don't know. Okay? Just do something. Just do something. We don't know if it's going to be an improvement or not, but just do something. Make the change, and then reflect on it. Something small, and then just build the momentum from there. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Like you said, it doesn't have to be about. It's not about perfection. So,
nope.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna wrap up the show here. This is rapid fire, okay? So these are just quick answers. So this, since we already talked about all this, what's your guilt level this past week? What's your guilt level this past week? 1 to 10.
I knew you were going to ask that question, and mine's been a steady 8 for 10 years.
All right. My guilt level was probably right around a 7. That's what I was feeling itself. Another rapid question is one word for your week that's coming up.
Patience.
Okay. Mine is to breathe. And your biggest win, obviously we kind of talked about that. What was the biggest win this past week?
Noah and I went to go watch Project Hail Mary.
All right. My biggest win
was a good one-on-one.
My biggest win was the Hope Squad and my boy scoring that touchdown. And then last one is the biggest fail.
Oh man. I don't know.
No.
I'll just say it, but I don't want to be a downer about it. Okay, look, I drank. That was a fail, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just not what I want to do. But I'm smiling through it.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
For me, I was a little short with Deeple.
Yeah.
So that was one thing for me too. So, and look, guys, at the end of the day, we're all in chaos together, as you can see as this show goes. But in this chaos, we can still persevere, get 1% better every day, and look for those fulfillment wins. I think that's pretty much a wrap right there. We still got to come out with our little signature line, but I think this is what's going to work in the chaos. What was your win this week? And I'm going to leave you with that. Monish and Shonak signing off here. We'll see you guys next week on our next topic. We'll be dropping that soon. You guys all take care and have a wonderful week.
All right. Peace, everyone. All right. Did you stop the recording?
Yeah, let me see how I get out of this.